Guys, we have a problem. Recent studies have shown that testosterone levels are falling in American men. Low T is linked to depression, low sex drive, and weight gain, so it's important to stay on top of it. You could go to a TRT clinic, but it's expensive, awkward, and in most cases, not necessary. You just need to stimulate your body's own natural testosterone production. It's time to check out the ultimate test stack at legacysubs.com. The majority of testosterone release occurs while you sleep, which is why the ultimate test stack features their best-selling sleep aid, Recovery PM. Test X9 stimulates testosterone, T-Assist inhibits estrogen, and Recovery PM gives you the best night's sleep you've ever had. You're gonna feel like a new man after trying the ultimate test stack for 30 days. If you don't believe me, check out all the verified 5-star reviews on Top Rated. Legacy Sports Nutrition is founded by 3-time world champion and SmackDown general manager, Mr. Nick Aldis, and 11-time women's champion and future Hall of Famer, Mickie James. And they personally use these products themselves. If you need more assurance, they're NSF certified, third-party lab tested, and made in the USA in an FDA-inspected facility. And because you listen to this show, you can save 10% off your order at legacysubs.com now by using Gabby at checkout. That's Gabby. That's legacysubs.com. LEGACYSUPPS.com. It's time to level up with Legacy.
It's about to get Gabby AF.
We about to get Gabby AF, Gabby AF. We about to get Gabby AF, Gabby AF. It's nothing less, cause you rocking with the best. Now we about to get Gabby AF.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Gabby AF. I brought in one of my heavy hitters, one of my friends today. He's been begging to come on the podcast, if you could believe that, which you should believe it because he knows that we're the podcast to be on right now. And he's been like watching and he's like, when are you getting me on, Gabby? Like, when can I come on? And that is no other than the TNA world champion, Moose, who is across the way. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Gabby. How are you doing? Thanks for finally having me on your podcast. And I'm hoping I get the same luck that our friend Joe Henry got, because as soon as they did your podcast, they became the biggest star in pro wrestling. So I'm hoping to get that same rub from you.
So you think it was me that got him all that? Like, it wasn't the million viewed song. It's not that he's amazing. It was because he came on with me, right?
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't you. You do have a shitty podcast. It's no way it could have been
Okay,
you.
we are live. You saying that I have a shitty podcast less than 60 seconds into the podcast doesn't really help me out, but I appreciate it a lot. We were doing so good. So good.
You have to explain to your viewers our relationship. Our relationship is a hate relationship.
No, it's a love-hate.
So,
I hate you and you love me.
No, it's definitely a hate. I don't think we've ever said one nice thing to each other for all the viewers looking at this. So just know everything I say is gonna be probably very mean to Gabby, but it's in love.
Listen,
so
you're not the first person to do this. Actually, one of my most watched, talked about episodes is when I had Eddie Kingston on, and the entire time he was on, all he did was try to make me angry. Like, that was his goal in the hour-long interview that we did. It wasn't like, yeah, we got into some stuff, but he's like, I'm just here to like piss you off, which I don't know why people think that that's fun to do. But no, when I met you from the get-go, I was like, I don't like him. And you were like, well, I don't really like you either, but I guess we'll be on that level about it. And I think the
Right.
funniest thing about you is I feel like when people watch you on TV, they're like, oh, he's like this mean, like big, strong dude. And I'm like, he's literally like one of the most, like, you're such a goofball. Like, you're so immaturely like an ass, if that's like the right word for it. Like, the way you say things under your breath when you like are annoyed, which is with me 99% of the time. That
First of all, don't try to embarrass me in your podcast by telling people that this big bad moose guy is idiot. Okay.
Oh, big bad moose. That's what they say. I think when they say big bad, it's the wolf. It's not the moose. And no one really says that a moose is big and bad. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell your viewers to stop what they're doing right now and go on Google and search Lord Farquaad from Shrek,
This is
and get that
mean.
picture and put it side by side to your face, and I guarantee you they're gonna have a good laugh because that's exactly who you
First of
look
all,
like.
fuck you. That's mean. Okay. We don't, in this day and age, we don't go after people's looks, Moose. Okay. Because I could have a field day if I wanted to. Lord Farquaad, by the way, you're even not even saying it correctly. Lord Farquaad. I do not look like him. He's also like a
Yeah.
midget. Okay.
I'm not. I'm talking about your facial features,
Okay.
your head and your face and your chin
Okay.
looks like Lord
Okay.
Farquaad.
Well,
What are you gonna say? I look like Shaq, or I look
no.
like Terry Crews, or I look like Mr.
No, you
T.
look like
I've heard it
Shrek. How
all.
about that? If I'm Lord Farquaad, you're fucking Shrek. How about that?
No, I look nothing like
I don't
Shrek.
know.
I know this.
You look like Shrek.
I do.
You're Shrek with the personality of Donkey. How about that? Because
Oh,
you're an
screw
ass
you.
for saying that.
Okay. Now, would have been funny if you said I look like Donkey's ass.
That doesn't make any
That would have been
sense,
funny.
Moose.
Yeah, I just look like his
I mean,
backside, which
you're
is
someone that goes by the name Moose. So it's like you really don't have a leg to stand on at this point. Like, that already is funny. Like, you're this big bad guy named Moose. Who came up with that?
yeah. Moose are dangerous animals. And actually, moose is one of the most dangerous animals in the world.
I don't think that's actually an accurate fact. I want everybody
It
listening to
is.
look that up because I don't think that's true.
That's very accurate. They're top four.
Top 4? No.
Yeah.
A moose is like more
It's a
dangerous than a shark or a lion or a.
yeah.
Okay, there's no way.
Yeah. Put a shark in, bring a shark and put it on land and have a fight a
That's
moose, and it
not
will.
physically
It
possible to
will.
put a shark on land. Put a moose in water, it's the same thing. Who's going to win? The shark,
It
because they're
depends.
on their
Is
territory. You can't just
it,
fuck with
is
nature,
a moose?
Moose.
Is a moose on the? Is Are they fighting on a boat in the water?
No, they're not fighting on a boat because the shark would die. They need to be in the
Okay,
water.
my point. The shark is useless. So it's a lion, a gorilla, um, a bear, and then a moose.
Are you maybe in land animals terms? That's what you're getting at. I'm pretty sure like hyenas are pretty dangerous. I'm pretty sure
Not more.
there's
Nope.
like
Nope. Telling
cheetahs,
you.
like
Telling you.
mountain
Look it up. Top
lions.
four. Top four. Moose is a bad mother effer.
Okay. I don't think that's
Yeah.
true. But anyway, I digress. I feel like
But
this interview's already off too.
I may or may not have made that up. But you just Google it.
I'm pretty sure we all know you have made that up.
Okay.
But you are a champion, so I'm gonna try to cut that part of it short in the interview so that people take you seriously as a champion, because this conversation is not helping either one of us at this point, especially you, Moose.
Okay.
Oh man. Anyway, I digress. Shrek is also a great movie.
You're not. Yeah, it is. You're not regretting bringing me on your podcast now, are you?
No, I don't regret it. Listen, it's fun for me. I don't have anything to really promote. You do. So I hope you're having a good time.
I'm having a great time. I mean, watch, you're gonna get a lot of views from this podcast just because of the star power.
Oh.
I mean, I'm one of the biggest stars in the world. I mean, not even pro wrestling, just in the world. I'm like The Rock. Yeah, I'm like the Rock level star.
The Moose and The Rock, like kind of eyeing each other, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
We both have one syllable names.
Would you? No, I mean, I guess, yeah, one syllable, but he's The Rock, you're just Moose. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm better.
Okay, you're better. That's it. That's the headline right there. Moose says he's better than The Rock.
Yep, I guarantee you that I guarantee you go on Twitter tomorrow, and that's where everybody's gonna say Moose says he's better than The Rock, which
Well, listen,
that's the story of my life.
That is the story of your life. It's actually interesting you brought that up, because one thing I did want to talk to you about is, there has been a bit of a crossover with WWE and TNA right now, specifically NXT. Had the Joe Hendry, Frankie Kazarian was just on NXT. We didn't see you, the TNA champion there. Are there any talks of that? Would you like to do some crossover either at NXT? Do you have your eyes maybe doing something more with WWE? Like, how do you feel about you kind of not making that crossover yet? And would you like to?
I mean, that's not a secret about the crossover, like you mentioned. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for TNA. It's a big deal for the guys who've been lucky enough to make that crossover and do stuff with him. I don't know much about it. I try not to look into those things and get my hopes up or think much about it. But just whenever it happens, if it happens, I'll be excited to do it. Whatever they have, if they have something. And that's just my thoughts about it. I mean, I'm happy with doing stuff with WWE, the biggest wrestling
Right.
company in the world, bar none. And I'm happy for my friends who, with Jordan and Joe, who's gotten a chance to do stuff with him. And they did
Yeah.
great. I mean, like look at Joe, overnight star
Insane.
after his insane after his appearance. So, and Frankie, by the way, I miss calling him. He's a good friend of mine. And yeah, so I try not to think about it. I try not to put my hopes up. I just do what I do until hopefully I get a call and saying that I'm going to do something. And no matter what it is, I'll be happy and I'll give 110% my best effort to whatever that is.
Is there anyone, do you have like your eye on anyone there that you would like love to have a match with, or like you think would you have such a good match with if given the opportunity? Like you have your eye on anybody?
I mean, I could only go off of what I've heard on Twitter world. Trick, I think he's their
Yeah.
champion. There's another guy there, Obi Femi.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually, we're both from the same heritage. We're both Nigerians. So that would be something cool. I mean, honestly, I hate to single people out and leave people
Right.
not in the list. Whoever they think, or TNA thinks, or whoever's in charge of this relationship or doing it, whoever they think that I could have a great match with, I could probably have a good match with. I'm in that part of my career where I can have a great match with anybody, so it really doesn't matter um, who who you bring up or who you take me there to wrestle. It doesn't matter. I would be happy for the opportunity, and I would give 110%.
Yeah, I mean, you're the champion in TNA right now. You're the big dog, so everyone's coming after you. You got, they just set out for Slammiversary, which is the end of July, that there's going to be like a 6-way match at Slammiversary for your title, and the challengers are going to be determined in like qualifying matches all throughout on the road to Slammiversary. Joshua Alexander's, I believe, already qualified. How do you feel about all these guys coming after your title? Are you confident heading into Slammiversary, or do you know? Is there anyone that you're nervous about? Obviously, you're going to say no, but who is like pissing you off the most?
Um, well, you know me very well because I'm not worried about
Right.
any of the contestant. I'm not worried about who's going to be the final five to get in the match. Um, it's one of those things where I've beat pretty much everybody on our roster. I've been probably the most dominant champion in TNA history. A lot of people don't know this, and I didn't know this until our friend Tom told me. I haven't lost a singles match in almost 2 years.
Damn.
So yeah, so now what they're doing is, oh, since nobody in our roster could beat them, let's start finding guys from other
Right.
places to come in and beat him. Look at Dolph. I mean, I'm sorry, I almost said Dolph Ziggler. Look at Nick Nemeth.
Mm-hmm.
They brought him in, and it didn't work out so well for him. They brought in broken Matt Hardy. It didn't work out so well for him. I'm sure at some point I'm going to have to wrestle his brother Jeff
Yeah.
Hardy, which is a match. I think that's a big dream match. Jeff Hardy and Moose is. I don't believe this ever happened. It will be a first time, and he's going to receive the same fate that Nick and his brother Matt Hardy faced. So I guess Santino and management is trying to put the all odds against me by making this a 6-man elimination
Right.
match for my world title. But I'm the best wrestler in the world, and I've proven it, and I'll prove it again in Montreal and Slammiversary.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, you mentioned Jeff Hardy, and you work with the system who, the Hardys have kind of been put in through the ringer at the compound and in the match. And now Matt's wife is involved. how kind of is that like a new dynamic for you? And, you're stable in the system. Like, have you guys had to kind of shift what you're doing? Is it kind of just more of, is your strategy going in a little bit different because you got a good group of people around you? You're all a little bit mean. I do love Alicia and Eddie and Brian, but now you got some numbers against you.
No, I'm not worried about them. The system were the greatest group in pro wrestling history. Well, by far the greatest group in TNA history. So I'm not worried about the Hardy family. I'm not worried about Matt. I already took care of him. Honestly, I'm not worried about Jeff. I'm not worried about Matt's wife, his kids, and I took care of that. They're behind me. And that's with all due respect, because I respect the hell out of Matt, but I proved just this past week or 2 weeks ago that I'm the greatest champion in TNA history when I beat Matt and made him spare his wife.
Yeah, that was a little nuts. Like, you didn't feel bad about that at all? I felt bad for her.
No, I mean, I've spared Josh Alexander's wife, so you're asking a guy who done that. Does he care about Matt sparing his wife? No. The only thing I care about is staying TNA World Champion.
Yeah, and it's interesting because this weekend you guys are going to be in Philly, which you know how I feel about Philly. I'm not a big Eagles person, but it is what it is. But Matt and his wife are going to be facing off against Alicia and Eddie. So I'm sure you have full confidence that, the Edwards are going to come out victorious this weekend.
Of course. That's what the system do. The system is the greatest group ever. And and Eddie and my little sister, Lish, is going to prove that.
Yeah. And then you got Eddie and Brian versus the Hardy brothers. So, you gotta look out for them a little bit. They're getting busy in Philly this weekend.
They're gonna be real busy. I don't even know what I'm doing, if I'm even doing anything. It might be just the night off for me. But I will be in Philly. But
a night off for the greatest of all time. You're gonna take a night off?
Yeah.
What is that?
I mean that's what I'm the champ. You can't
just do what you want.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys where you have to save me for the pay-per-views. You see Montreal is selling great right now. We're on verge to sell out a 4,000 seat arena, and that's thanks to me, the greatest to ever do it.
So
the face of the franchise. Say it, Gabby. The face of the franchise. I want to hear you say it.
The face
right now.
The face of the franchise. I just said it.
Thank you.
I can say things. I do speak English.
Okay.
And, just because I say it doesn't mean I believe it, by the way.
I want you to acknowledge me. Okay.
Don't do Roman's thing now. That's the blood. Like, that's.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I'm sorry, Roman.
Roman, if you're listening to Gabby AF, which you definitely are, you apologize.
If you're listening, I apologize for using your catchphrase.
Yeah. Now you pissed off The Rock and you're pissing off Roman. You really.
I apologize to The Rock and to Roman. So.
All right. Well, we'll put that out there. I'm not putting that out there. I'm just going to make you piss them off. I'm not going to put out your apology because that sells better. You know what I mean?
Oh, come on, you asshole. You're just trying to get me canceled from wrestling society.
Never. I don't want anybody canceled. I think social media is such a fucking cesspool in and of itself that like you can get canceled saying anything now. We're talking about this before the show. I'm like, say whatever you want, but you got to be careful about what you say because people will just take little bits of it and like not even listen to a whole interview. It's happened to me before. I've had people on and I feel bad because they'll take like 2 sentences that they said and not put in the whole paragraph of like what they were talking about.
Right. I guarantee you, Gabby, I'm going to get in trouble for something I said or didn't say in this podcast because somebody from another media site is going to grab 2 things that I said and make it a whole story. And obviously people are going to listen to it and be like, oh my God, Moose said he's better than The Rock. Which, if you listen to the whole episode, the whole thing, I was obviously joking.
Well, you did say you're the best in the world, so.
Yeah, but The Rock doesn't wrestle anymore, so I could say.
Okay, that's true. All right. So during WrestleMania, when it just happened and he was wrestling, it didn't count. But now that WrestleMania is over. Moose is the best in the world. I just wanted to be clear.
I mean, I don't count guys who wrestle once every year or once every 2-3 years or whatever it is. I'm me saying I'm the best in the world is compared to people who wrestle like all the time who are professional wrestlers. That's their job. Like
Cody, like you're better. You think you're better than Cody Rhodes right now?
yeah, I'm the best in the world.
Okay.
I said it.
Listen, I'm a Cody stan, so that's going to be hard for me to believe. But
You're a mark for Cody.
I'm not a mark for anybody, but I have some of my people that I also think Cody's just hitting on every cylinder, and he has been for so long that I don't.
I mean, but I'm not saying anything bad about Cody. Cody is a good buddy of mine. Like I think Cody is great. I think he's awesome. I mean, I could say so many great things about Cody. I think my match with Cody when he was in TNA was one of my favorite matches of all time. I just think I'm the best in the world.
All right.
I'm not saying anything bad about it. I didn't say Cody
I didn't
sucks
say you
because he
did.
doesn't. He's great.
But Moose is better.
Yeah.
All right, we're putting it out there. Putting it out to the world. I can't wait for you to get in some crossover action because I like when the big men fight like other big men. You know what I mean? Like there's so many like fantasy matches I would have for you of like certain people that I think would be like sick matches.
Like let me hear it. Name 2 of them.
Like you and Bobby Lashley, I think would be a sick match in my opinion.
No, I mean he's hurt right now. So,
well, and then the other one I was going to say is hurt too. Like I think someone like a Will Hobbs would be great.
Oh yeah, that I've never wrestled Will, so I think that would be. It was a match I always thought about when I first saw him. I was like, man, Will is pretty good. It's a match I think would be really, really, really good. And Bobby, I mean, every time I get in the ring with Bobby, it's always magical. We have great chemistry, and Bobby's another one of my good friends. And like I said, speedy recovery to him.
Yeah, and then also just like a veteran, I think that would like beat the shit out of you is like a Shelton Benjamin, just because I
never go. You keep wanting me to fight all my friends.
I don't know you're friends with these people.
Like,
I'm just naming people that
like,
I think would balance it out in the ring.
What's up with all this with freaking
I don't know your life,
friends?
Moose. I don't know your friends.
Friends violence. But you know what would be cool? Like you mentioned Bobby, like I thought about this. I thought what would be cool if the system versus the group Bobby has, and I can tell you the name of it. I don't even know if they have a name, but from my recollection, it's 3 guys and a girl. In our group, it's 3 guys and a girl, and I think it just makes sense, right, with the whole crossover thing happening.
I do like that.
But yeah, money.
Money makes the world go round at this point.
Yeah, you're right.
But you know, we joke or like we jest in like how we're talking. But I mean, you are the champion. You are the face of TNA, and this is your second reign. It's not your first time. So talk a little bit about.
Actually, no. See, you're wrong there. This is my 3rd reign. Yeah.
Well,
why you do your research, Gabby?
It says second reign, by the way.
On the where
I looked it up. I wanted to double check.
It's 3rd. I can name all 3 times.
Name all 3 right now. No, I'm just kidding. You don't.
During COVID, I was a TNA heavyweight champion.
I'm talking about world champ.
Then TNA. I mean, it was a world champion.
Okay.
It's a world. I was a TNA heavyweight world champion. I changed the belt strap to white. I'm sure you probably saw me carrying a white TNA World Championship title.
Okay.
That was my first reign. My second reign is when I cashed in, I called my shot, and I beat Josh Alexander.
Yes, I remember that.
In 10 seconds. That was my second reign. And my third reign was when we changed from Impact Wrestling to TNA at Hard to Kill, and I beat Alex Shelley.
All right. Well,
So do your homework, Gabby.
Right. Well, listen, you do your homework on me. We got into an argument because you didn't know anything about what I was talking to you about when you called me a nerd.
I mean, you are a nerd. You like wrestling.
No. See, this is where we argued. And I'm going to get back to my other question because I think this is important to address. So you were talking about Comic-Con, which we'll get into the Comic-Con
Hmm.
that you're going to, because I'm smart and I plug your things for you because you didn't even think about doing that, but you're welcome. I should be your manager at this point, helping you
You
out.
should be.
Um,
I pay very well to managers, by the
Okay.
way, if you ever decide to be my
Listen,
manager.
I need the money, so I don't know if I
Right.
could deal with you like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to be quite honest. I might rip my hair out, but I've dealt with worse, I'm sure.
Do you even have hair underneath that wig you're wearing?
You think this is a wig?
I would assume
What makes
so.
you think I'm wearing a wig? Listen, from
I don't know. It just
someone
it looks wiggish.
for someone with your hair, don't be making assumptions about mine. Like, you don't have a leg to stand on, Moose, okay? You don't have one to stand on with what you're talking about. You have none,
Okay,
and you're going
now,
to say that I have a wig. This isn't a wig.
first of all, you cannot talk about me being bald because it's a condition.
Okay. You also,
Okay. How do you know I don't have alopecia?
how do you not
And
know
you're
I don't have
making fun of,
alopecia, and if I'm wearing a wig, if that's why, and then you're calling me out for it?
but obviously you have. I mean, yeah, that's true. Sorry for calling you out on your wig.
It's not a wig. You also have a beard right now.
Oh.
Are you going to have the beard at Slamversary?
I don't know.
I think you should keep
make
it.
changes to my. I know you said that early, but I make changes to my face all the time. I get tired of it. I got tired of the baby face, and then I grew the beard, and now I'm tired of the beard, so I might go back to the baby
So
face.
you're tired of the baby face, so you put on the hairy face, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I don't like the hairy face.
I think it makes you look meaner. I think bald with a beard is such a more fierce vibe than bald with nothing. You're like too clean.
Yeah,
like you're the
but
champion. You don't have fucking time to shave your face. You're busy.
I can see that, but I don't know. It makes my face look fat.
I don't think that's true. He's also, this is video, so people are going to see you staring at yourself and making faces into the camera.
Yeah, it's gonna make them watch more.
Watch more TNA. Here's the thing. Watch TNA this weekend in Philly to see if the beard is still there or not. That's the question that everybody wants to know.
Yeah, let's plug the Philly show. So we have 2 days of taping in Philly.
Yeah.
This ticket's still available. I'm gonna be there. The system is gonna be there. The greatest group in professional wrestling history is gonna be there. The greatest wrestling professional wrestling history is gonna be there.
2300 Arena, which is a great spot.
2300 Arena, the old ECW Arena. I love wrestling there. I love it. I love being in that arena. It just gives you it's a vibe that you don't feel anywhere else that you feel in that arena. And we get to be there Friday and Saturday and go to TNAWrestling.com to get tickets.
Wow, look at you. Plugging for the company that you're the face of. I'm really excited for you for doing that. I think you did a great job.
That's one of the face of the franchise. I'm a company man.
So you love the 2300 Arena. What's your favorite state to wrestle in, would you say? Like your favorite crowd?
My favorite, probably Chicago. It doesn't get better than Chicago. I mean, and we were just there. At against all odds, and the match with me and Matt Hardy was it's going to be one of my most memorable matches just because of the fans alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was super packed. It was so packed that they was telling fans that if you left, you couldn't come back in because they were past the. Yeah, it was way too many people. They added more people that the building could hold, which is awesome. And I remember when Jade was making her announcements for the match. Doing her thing, I was looking around and I was like, I could see people standing because there's nowhere else to sit.
Yeah.
And this is freaking awesome. So
yeah,
I would say Chicago.
Yeah, I do think the Philly crowd, I haven't been to a TNA show in Chicago, but the Philly crowd when I went for the one was wild, wilder than I thought that they were going to be, just because Philly fans I think are crazy, but it's also because we're East Coast. I think that Jersey, New York, Philly, I think that's where it's at. That's just me.
It's hard for me to say Philly, even though Philly is great, because the one memory I have of Philly is actually a bad memory. Is when Taya was still with TNA, we had a show in Philly, and I want to say a fan threw beer on her or grabbed her or something weird and crazy. And I was like, man, the Philly crowd is great, but they could
Crazy.
also sometimes go
Yeah.
overboard crazy. So, yeah, and that's probably the only reason why I picked Chicago over Philly, just because of that one incident. But Philly, trust me, you guys are awesome too. Like I said, that the ECW Arena, 2300 Arena, it has a special place in my heart, and I can't wait to be there this weekend.
Yeah.
Even though they're going to be booing me in the system, which is okay. We deserve it. We want it.
You want it? You like
We
the
don't
booze?
shy away. Yeah. Well, I love the booze. It makes me go harder.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
it's funny because you mentioned Philly, and I think that they are the fans that they are because so many of them are Eagles fans, and I do think Eagles fans are the most toxic fan base of all time in any sport. But I mean, you would know that best because I always forget that you played football. Like I think it's hilarious because I don't know why I just can't take you seriously in thinking about you in the NFL. Not in like a mean way, but because you're so good.
What?
No, I was going to give you a comment because you're so good in what you do in pro wrestling that I'm like, you were born to be a pro wrestler. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? So like, it's crazy. I know a lot of people do make that transition. But you came out in that whole Pats outfit because, you know, you played for the Patriots. But you are a Patriots fan, correct?
No, I'm not
Oh,
actually. I'm not even a football fan.
what?
It's so yeah. I'm not a
That's
football fan.
absurd.
I'm not. I was never really a football person. I only played footballs because my mom was nuts and she wouldn't let me out the house
Hmm.
because we lived in a bad neighborhood. So I came up with this scheme that if I wanted to hang out with my friends, I had to get myself in after school activities. And football was one of them.
That's
So I tried out
crazy.
for the football team so I could hang out with my friends. And it was just one of those things I was lucky I was good at. But I've never been a fan of it, and I haven't really watched it ever since I stopped playing. And it's crazy because I played 8 years, 7 years, 7.5 years in the NFL, and I literally didn't do anything to get better when I
Right.
was playing. So
That's
imagine if
wild.
I put the same focus and the same discipline and worked as hard as I do for wrestling and football. Like how much more money would I have made and how better would I have been if I actually applied myself? I always think about
Wow.
that. That's probably my one of my biggest regret that I didn't try hard at all with football. But I still played 7.5 years for
Yeah.
a guy who didn't try at all. Like that's insane.
How did you, I don't know if you've probably talked about this before, but like, how did you make the transition from football to like pro wrestling? Like, how did you, you just said you grew up not really playing sports. So like, how did you even find your way into the pro wrestling space like you did?
Oh, I was always a big, huge fan of pro wrestling,
Hmm.
so the transition was really easy. I mean, you know this. Once you have something you love, whatever the transition comes is always going to seem very easy because you actually love doing it.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know what you like doing, if you like
Talking. I just like to talk.
makeup or,
Makeup.
well, I mean, I don't know, makeup, talking shit about
Yeah,
people.
I
Well,
do.
th- preparing to do whatever you love doing is gonna come easy, right?
Hmm.
You're gonna look forward to doing it. And that's the same thing with me. Like I was such a huge wrestling fan that when I decided I was going to become a wrestler, I was always looking forward to going to wrestling training. I was always looking forward to doing anything that came with wrestling, or gear shopping, or watching old wrestlers to learn from them. I was always into it.
Yeah.
Like it came fun. Even now, like I can't wait to tomorrow when I hop on the flight to go to Philly. Um, because that's how much I love wrestling. I can't wait to be there with my coworkers. I can't wait to be there with the guys in the system. I can't wait to walk around the arena doing nothing. I can't wait till the show starts because I just love wrestling.
Yeah.
And that's a feeling I never had for football. I was a guy that football was like, fuck, we have to play Sunday.
So
I
crazy.
wish Sunday would never come because I hated football. I hated everything about it.
Wow. That's like crazy interesting because I mean, to be so naturally good at something that you can even make it to that level of the NFL, because there's so many people that are good, even in college, that, you know, they go to XFL and they're not good enough for the NFL, or they don't even make it. Like, and you were just there
Right.
and you just had the natural ability. So you were just kind of taking it day by day. And then,
And I feel bad for that. When you say that, I feel
yeah.
bad because there was literally somebody out there that
Mm,
loved football and wanted my spot, and I had that spot and I hated it and I didn't want to be
right.
there. And I feel sorry for that guy because it's almost like I was taking food out of his mouth.
Mm,
Like it's little stuff like that that I regret because I wish I would have tried harder for. Just because there's guys out there who actually love what I'm doing and wanted to do what I was doing and just maybe wasn't good enough or didn't have the right
right.
opportunity. And look at me, I got lucky enough to play in the NFL, but I took it for granted. I didn't really care about it. So I regret that about my time in the NFL.
Well, that's like a very honest, like insightful take, to take that step back and like learn that about yourself too. Was there anything from the NFL though that you did kind of learn that you took with you in your new profession of pro wrestling, at least, like something that, you know, even just like the people you worked with, like, did you learn anything from, there has to be something that came with it that was the reason why you were there.
I would say keeping a timely schedule is probably the only thing I took from the NFL because the NFL was one of those things. It was very strict. Every team you played for was very
Mm-hmm.
strict. You had to be a meeting on time. You had to be at the airport on time. You had to be at the buses when it took off for games. You had to be there on time, or you would get fined for everything. So that discipline of keeping a schedule was probably the biggest thing I took from football.
All right. Well, that's kind of, I think the experience kind of makes you. So I know you're saying, oh, you took somebody's place, but you never know what would have happened. So I think everything does happen for a reason, like as cliche as it is, but you know, that's pretty crazy that you say that. I mean, is there any, I know you don't really watch, you're not a fan, but do you think that there's anybody in the NFL or football players that you know of that you think would be great in pro wrestling if they ever made the change, the swap?
The one guy that comes to mind is he was a teammate of mine was Gronkowski.
Mm.
I think he's kind of like you. He's a meathead.
Like
Um,
me?
yeah.
You're so,
Where but I think everybody knows that about Gronk that he's a meathead. He's just like a walking Dumbo. But
this is
he's
getting worse
very
for me.
gifted and yeah. He's very gifted and he just when you look at him, as dumb as he is and as meatheadish as he is, he's a great. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great human being,
Yeah.
but he has that it factor. When you look at him, he was like, man, there's something about him. He's a star, and obviously he's athletic
Yeah.
because he played in the NFL and he's a Hall of Famer. So I think he's one of those guys that if he really wanted to, he could be a great pro wrestler.
It's interesting. I always say like
Yeah.
a Jason Kelsey, I think would, now that he's retired, would be just so great because of the name he's like made for himself, even in the past year and just what he's doing. Is someone that I think could come
But
over.
I don't know much about Jason Kelsey.
Well,
I
because you
mean
don't
I've
watch.
heard the name. I mean I've heard the name and I know he's a great tight end, but I really don't know his person. I don't know nothing about his personality
Yeah.
because I don't watch. But I know Grunk. Grunk
Mm,
is one of those guys that like he's known for having a good time and being outlandish. I can't say that for Jason Kelsey, and maybe he is,
yeah.
but I just can't say it because I'm not familiar with him. But I for sure, Grunk would be. I think I would take it this far to say that if Grunk wanted, he could also probably be a Hall of Famer in pro wrestling.
Wow. I could see it. You
Yeah,
could, I think you should tag with him.
I would love to.
Imagine two
Yeah,
meatheads together.
two meat. Oh, screw you! I would be the
Gronk and Moose.
smart
It sounds like a
meathead in it.
sitcom. Moose and Gronk.
Yeah, yeah, Grunk. That's actually a great tag, Grunk and
Listen, I
Moose.
told you I'm smart. You'd think I'm not. I can manage it.
Yeah.
Every time I put people on my show, I'm like, I could manage you if you want. Like, I could do that. I think I'd be a cool.
Grunk and Moose managed by Lord Farquaad.
Okay, we're not doing that. You'd be Shrek and Donkey then, and I would be the whoever I forget, Fiona. I could be Fiona because you're an ass.
No, I think you should cast for Lord Farquaad in the next Shrek movie.
Lord Farquaad, there's been 3 Shrek movies. I don't think there's going to be any more, and he is done after the first, so he's not a returning character.
Well, they should bring him back and have you play him.
I would put him in my pocket. I'm almost 5'9". He's like 4 feet tall, and he has short hair.
Well,
I'm not cutting my hair for you.
I guess you will be his Mega Me, just like instead of Mini Me, you'll be the Mega Me of Lord Farquaad.
That was an awful.
You just walk around. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean sometimes I bomb it.
Yeah.
It happens
Best
a lot.
in the world.
What you say a lot, yeah.
What'd you say?
But I mean, yeah. Sometimes you botch.
Not me. You're the champion. You can't botch, and you shouldn't say that. Sometimes you botch it. That's not a thing.
I mean, it's wrestling. Everybody botches once in a while. That doesn't. I mean, it comes part of it. It's kind of like just like in football. I mean, Tom Brady throws interceptions sometimes, doesn't he? But he's still the greatest football player ever.
Greatest of all time. Did you watch the roast of him?
I did.
What'd you think of the roast?
And it was hilarious.
So
I think my favorite one, I don't know why, it was Bill Belichick.
Oh, Bill.
Bill Belichick. Bill was the best roaster. Because first of all, I wasn't expecting him to be there. And I wonder how much money they paid him to be there.
I'm sure a lot.
A lot, because I could tell you for a guy who played with Bill, that is not his thing. He's not a personable person.
I mean,
so I'm sure he got at least $1 million, maybe even more for that to come out there.
Bill is interesting because he's in the headlines right now because, listen, he might have done good at roasting, but he's dating a 24-year-old right now.
Yeah, I heard about that. That is so weird.
That is
now. Can you get
absurd?
Can you get canceled for that?
No, I mean she's above 18. Just because he's 2 years old, dating a 23-year-old or whatever she is, and she's like an ex-cheerleader. But like, I don't know. You don't.
I feel like that is disgusting.
Yeah, you feel like that's disgusting, or that is disgusting.
Yeah. That is disgusting. Like, I feel like just like you can't date a 18-year-old can't date a 16-year-old, a 70-year-old guy shouldn't be able to date a 23-year-old girl. It's the same fucking thing. Like, and don't get me wrong, Bill is a great coach, but I think that's disgusting. Like, sorry,
and
Bill.
Apparently they've been living together for months. Like, I don't know, but listen. This happens all the time. Like, I don't think it's like weird for a very rich, powerful older man to be dating a hot younger woman. But like, isn't there kind of like something for you where you'd feel like, you know, does she even really like me, or does that not even fucking matter? Like, does that just not matter at that point?
To me, it shouldn't be. They should put a rule. That's disgusting. So think about this: when he was 50 years old, she wasn't even fucking born.
Yeah, I know.
That's disgusting. That is
I don't know.
Bad. That's my. I just think it makes sense. If a 20-year-old can't date a 16-year-old, then a 70-year-old shouldn't be able to date a 23-year-old. That's just how I look at it. I think they're both disgusting, and
I mean, listen, maybe they're very happy.
No, there should be a rule. I don't care what happiness. There should be a rule. That's just disgusting.
It's legal. Like, listen, she's a grown woman and he's a grown man. So at that point, if that's how you want to live your life and you're happy, I mean, sure, they're both happy. It is what it is. Like, that's just how it is. I mean, I don't know. It's just funny. This happens a lot. And like, I just think people don't really talk about it. So I think when people like put it in the headlines, like, wow, isn't that crazy? I'm like, what else would you expect? Like, I wouldn't expect him to be dating a fucking 60-year-old woman that's close to his age.
No,
like, you know?
No, you don't expect that, but maybe like 38, 40, like, come on, but 23. Like, I wonder if he's older than her dad.
Ugh, God only knows. Like, I don't know. I couldn't even imagine. I don't think I could go older. Like I'm 32 and I'm single. I don't think I could go over than like, I wouldn't go over
Like
40.
I can tell you now, I'm 40 years old, and before I met my wife, I dated a 21-year-old, and I was probably like 35.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say no, I was probably younger. I was like maybe 32, and I dated a 21 year
Different
old,
world.
and she was the most annoying human being I've ever been around. And that's because she was 21 years old. The day I knew I had to break up with her was the day she asked me for gas money so she could go to a high school football game.
Stop.
And I was like, yeah. And in my mind, I was like, why do you want, if you don't have gas money to go, then you probably shouldn't go, right? That's just common logic, right? Like, if you don't have money to go, then maybe you probably should just stay home, right? And in my mind, I was like, I'm breaking up with her. This is just
Oh my
ridiculous.
God.
And I feel like I mean, Bill Belichick being 72 years old, he's probably dealing with the same idiotic,
I
dumb shit
guess.
that a 23-year-old is doing.
I
Yeah.
guess, but it's probably not the
So,
same. When you're a millionaire, your problems aren't the same. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the issues I would face dating like a man that old, if he wasn't a millionaire, would be completely different, right? Like I just like think you can kind of do whatever you want. I don't know. It's sad because he is such a good coach, and I do like him so much. And you can't look at
yeah,
this and like not look at someone a little bit different and just be like, eh. And like the thing is, too, he's an older man with a younger woman. Like all the dudes are like, all the football players are like, smooth operator, like he's cool, like good for him, like this is like a cool thing. But it's just, for me, it's like a little icky. It just makes you look at people a little different.
it's probably just eye candy for him. Like,
I mean, it's been months.
that's,
She can't be
there's no
unhappy.
way, there's no way he talks to her. Like, there's no way
Maybe
they
she's mature
have,
for her age.
no way.
I don't
I'm
know.
willing to put my TNA title that she's not mature
That's
for.
what you put it up
That's how.
for, is for Bill
That's
Belichick being in
yeah,
love or not.
because nobody else on the roster could beat me, so I might as well do that, right? But yeah, there's no way Bill even talks to her. There's no way they have a quality conversation about.
Interesting.
They're probably talking about Forever
Oh my
21
God.
and
That's not even around anymore,
Starbucks
by the way.
and Chick-fil-A.
No, listen,
That's probably,
Chick-fil-A and Starbucks transcend age. You don't have to be young to like those. It just depends on what you order at your age. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when you're young and you get like all the sugary drinks because you can, like now you got to get, you're old and you got to get black coffee and just call it a day because you don't need the calories. Like that's where it differs, but you could still go. What's your Starbucks order? You get Starbucks?
yeah, I mean, if the line is not too long, like I'm very impatient. So my
Oh man.
Starbucks order is a venti Americano
Oh,
with sugar-free vanilla syrup.
nice. It's not bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we know you're impatient, which is why we also.
I'm very
I'm very impatient
very
too.
impatient, very impatient.
That's a very Jersey thing, by the way. Impatience. We don't have patience anywhere around here. That's why I can't travel
Yeah.
to places like Texas and all these places, because I go to the airports there and everyone's moving so fucking slow because everyone's like having a good day, and I'm like, we need to go. Like, why isn't everybody in a rush all the time?
Yeah, I'm the same. That's why I can't go to like Disney World
Yeah.
and Universal and stuff like, because I cannot wait in the line.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Like,
Well, you're a
I'll
nerd.
blow my head off before I wait in that line. Like, I can't do
You
it.
would just flash your
Like,
title and be like,
true.
I'm important. Can you just let me cut the line? I'm
So
priority.
true story. This was a few months ago. We was in the UK for some TNA shows, and myself, Myers, I want to say Josh, and EY went to a shoe store, and it was a couple of stuff that I wanted to buy, and I grabbed it. I had like maybe a sweatsuit in one hand, pair of shoes in one hand, and then I got to the line, and it was like 6 people in line.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, guys, I'm not buying this. It's too many people in line. So I put it back and just left out the store. And I didn't buy the items that I really wanted because it was 6 people in the line. And I remember Brian looking at me and was like, bro, you just don't want to wait 10 minutes to buy it. I was like, nah, it's not important. It's not that important. That's how impatient I am.
That's crazy. Are you,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if this is like known or not, but do you have kids? Like, are you a dad?
Yeah, I have a 14-year-old. He's actually with me right now. He's upstairs probably on his iPad to play video
I
games.
feel like you have to have patience to have a child at some point. Like, don't you have to have a little bit, or is that not count? Like, is it not the same?
It's different. It's like that's a different kind of patience. Like, um, that's a different kind of patience. But
Man.
with him, you have to, or unless I was just stuff him in the trash can if I did it. So, and I don't want to go to jail or have my kid taken away from me. So you have to have a lot of patience for that.
Does he like wrestling? Does he like want to wrestle like his dad?
He did. I don't think. I think honestly, I think he just says things to make me happy because he's coming to Philly with me this weekend,
Nice.
and when we get there, he's gonna be all excited and he's gonna tell me, "Dad, I want to wrestle just like you." And then I will try to teach him wrestling when we're in the house, and he's so
Oh
uninterested
my
in what
God.
I'm telling him, and it's almost like. I was like, you said you wanted to wrestle, like, and I'm like, okay, let's watch wrestling on
Yeah.
TV. And like 4 minutes later, he's like snoring. And I'm like, bro, you said you wanted to be a wrestler. This is what you have to do to be a wrestler. So I think he just says things to
Yeah.
make me happy. But
It's also hard. Like, I think
knowing,
people don't realize, and I'm sure like he's like, oh, my dad's a wrestler, so I could just get the hang of it really quick. And it's like not like that. It's not like a sport like that where you can just like pick it up super quickly. I feel like it's really much harder than people
right,
even realize. So maybe it's that
right.
too. It's the immature. I mean, he's only 14.
He's only 14, yeah. So he doesn't know what he really wants to do yet. So
That's interesting.
we'll see.
Who were your
Yeah.
favorites growing up? Like when you would watch, like who was like your
My favorites growing up was number one all time was Razor Ramon. Number two was Ric Flair. Ric Flair was actually who got me into watching pro wrestling.
wow.
I remember this day like it was yesterday. My mom. So you're from Jersey, so you know this. And how old are you? You're north of 30, right?
32.
Okay. So you remember back in the day when they had the D-Scrambler boxes where you could get every cable channel for free?
No.
You're such a liar. You just don't want to
I
get rated by
I
the
really don't remember. I don't really know what you're talking about.
Okay, so maybe you're too young, and I hate to say that because you're only 8 years younger than me. But
Only Jesus, you're 40.
yeah, so
Scares me.
they had these boxes where you could get every channel on cable for free. So my mom just purchased one from the local cable man that used to hit on her. So he I don't even think she paid for it. I think he just gave
For
it to her
free.
because she thought my mom was he thought my mom was cute. So he set it up or whatever. And I remember flipping through the channels and I remember the 92 Royal Rumble on TV. And for people who don't know about the 92 Royal Rumble, that's when Ric Flair won the whole thing and became WWF champion. So I remember watching it. I remember fixated on everything Ric Flair was doing because he was the most entertaining guy in the match. So ever since that day, I always watched pro wrestling ever since that day. And then Razor Ramon was the guy who made me want to actually become a wrestler because he was so cool and like everything he did was cool with his outfits, the way he talked, the toothpick in his mouth, his entrance. Like I wanted to be Razor Ramon, but other fan favorites I had, Ultimate Warrior was another huge favorite of mine. Triple H was another huge favorite of mine. Goldberg. Um, Even more recently, like Brock Lesnar. I remember being when I was playing football, still in the NFL, I remember I was a huge Brock Lesnar guy. So.
A huge like you like the big dudes. That's
Yeah. So if you know my character and watch me, I have a little piece of all those people that I named in me, and that's what makes me. A little piece of everybody I just mentioned makes Moose.
except the coolness of like Razor Ramon. You're still trying to find the coolness of like
Uh, F you. I don't know if I could curse or not,
you've
but
been
F
cursing. You called me
you.
an asshole before.
Oh, well, I apologize, asshole.
You could curse. If I had my show is called Gabby AF. Do you know what AF stands for? Literally, there's a curse word in it. So
Oh,
it's you could curse. If I couldn't curse, I wouldn't be able to have a show. To be quite honest with you.
yeah. So fuck you.
This is not turning out well for me, but that's fine. By the way, in
Yeah.
92, when Ric Flair won, I was a year old. I was born in 91. So,
Oh wow.
yeah.
So I was 8 years old.
Right. But
Yeah.
So you're much older than me. Don't make it like we're close in
Yeah.
age. 8 years is a long time.
So you did. So you really didn't know anything about the scrambler boxes.
No, I also didn't know anything.
Yeah.
That's why I said it. I'm not a liar. And you
Oh.
don't believe me that like I didn't know anything about pro wrestling until 6 years ago. Like you're like, oh, you're a nerd. You always liked wrestling. And I was like, no, dude, like, do you know anything about me? Like my whole story is that I fell
So you
into
don't
it.
even know. So you don't even know who Ultimate Warrior is.
I mean,
You
I know
just
who
started
he
watching wrestling
is. I've learned. For 5 years I worked with some amazing people like Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray, Mark Henry, who have like educated me on a lot of the greats, obviously. But I wasn't
Right.
present in watching it when I was growing up. No, I didn't know any of it. So it took me some time.
Oh wow. Well, who's your favorite wrestler then? It has to be somebody in the last 6 years.
My favorite wrestler it's like
of all time, who's your favorite other than me, obviously? Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
It's so hard to say because I judge based on like emotional connection, I feel like, to somebody, as opposed to like technically they're the greatest of all time and they've had this many championships. Like I don't really care about that because I don't know the history beforehand.
Yeah, I don't care about technical wrestling and how great in the ring people are. It's just what I like.
Yeah, like Cody Rhodes is one of my favorite just because when I started watching was the emergence of AEW. Like AEW started the year that I got my job. So like I watched it firsthand, like blossom into what it is now and like see it happen. So like I just think his story of everything he's done is just amazing. And I just think it's such a wild thing to be where he is now.
I think Cody's awesome. Like he's not only a human being, but an actual awesome wrestler also. Right. So yeah.
I mean, I love Randy Orton. He's like one of those for me that like I just.
Oh yeah, he's another one of my favorites. I forgot to mention.
Ooh, you and Randy would be a good match.
Oh yeah, that's an actual match that I have thought about in my head, envisioned. Yeah, so Randy is another one of my favorites. So it will be. I mean, let's not even talk about that because, like I said, I hate thinking about it.
You can still think about it.
No, I don't like thinking. I'm like one of those guys that I hate to get excited about anything that is not possible until it becomes possible or until it actually happens. So even though we have a working relationship with WWE, my name hasn't been mentioned and I don't want to think about it. I just don't even think about it.
Yeah. I mean, you have to take it one day at a time too, because you're carrying the title. You are the face of this company. So it's not like you can worry about another company until they come knocking on your door for an opportunity for you.
I'll just keep dominating my company until whatever happens.
Yeah. I mean, which you're clearly doing. I know you said you're going to be in Philly. You don't know if you're going to be doing anything. You might be watching the system just brutally beat everybody in their way, which would be great for you.
Yeah, I might just be sipping on some wine, watching my boys and girls do
their thing.
Damage. Yeah, watching the system do damage and all of TNA.
I mean, Slammiversary is going to be here before we know it. It's July 20th, I believe. So that's going to be the big one for you.
Less than a month away. I'm preparing for that. I came straight from the gym. I'm training to do this podcast. So yeah, I'm feeling very confident about Slammiversary. I don't know who the other 5 men is. I know
they have to qualify.
I know the only one that's qualified so far, Josh.
You know him pretty well.
I know him pretty well. Me and Josh have went back and forth for so many years, so I'm not worried about him. I'm not worried about anybody.
Interesting if an outsider shows up. Just saying.
I actually have a huge surprise for Slammiversary. My gear is going to be talked about. Let's just say that.
Oh, can you give a hint?
I can't really give a hint without spoiling it.
Damn it.
So just watch.
You told me we were going to make news on my podcast. You're not giving me anything. I thought you might cry at some point. You were going to, can't even.
Oh, I told you, I am. I'm breaking history. I'm breaking news. Breaking news, I'm pregnant.
Oh my God, you can't. There's a baby moose. There's a baby moose on the way.
There's a baby moose on the
I
way.
said, relinquish the title. See you later.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
But no, yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm doing something special for my gear.
Mm-hmm.
It's very asshole-ish. I can't wait
Asshole-ish. I've never heard
to
that word before.
yeah, yeah, I just made it up. It's very asshole-ish, and I can't wait for people to see it.
Well, I'm excited. And then when it comes out, it better be good because you're plugging that.
It's,
It's going to be great here.
it's going to be great, and I guarantee you're gonna DM me or text me and be like, "Oh
No, I'm
my
gonna
God,
tweet
I
about it.
can't
I'm
believe."
gonna rate
Yeah,
your gear at Slammiversary, and I'm gonna
yeah,
say 3 out of
please,
10 after the buildup that was here. I'll put this clip out and be like, did his promise serve as champion with his gear? And if it doesn't,
yes,
well, we're never gonna have you back on.
it's going to.
All right, whatever you say.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we go, because this has been phenomenal of a conversation. What I ask everybody this, and I have to ask you because we'll look back on this interview, I think, by the end of the year and be like, that was one of the greats. What does this year of 2024 look for you? Like, as Moose, like, what are you going to end the year and be like, that all came true? This is what I've manifested. This is what happened. And this was my goals. And I'm looking back in the interview and I put that out in the universe and it ended up happening by December.
Um, that's an easy answer. I've had many great years in wrestling, but I want this year, 2024, to be the greatest one of them so thus far.
That's it. No
That's it.
specifics. You're
No
leaving a
specifics because
cliffhanger.
I can't control the specifics. So all I can say is I want 2024 to be the greatest year that I've had in professional wrestling, which I've had a lot of good other years.
Yeah.
So it's a lot I have to beat, but I'm on pace to beat them, and I want 2024 to be better than the previous years for me.
All right. Well, the other thing we're going to plug before we go is that you will be at Undiscovered Realm Comic-Con in White Plains, New York at the
Yes,
Westchester County Center. So you're welcome for plugging
yes.
that. It's going to be you with Brian
And
Myers.
Brian, my system member and brother, Brian Myers, will be there on Sunday. I don't really know the time schedule yet, but just get there when it starts and don't leave until you see me and Brian. But it's in Westchester County
Center
Center.
in White Plains, New
Yeah,
York.
in White Plains, New York.
Yes.
So come there Sunday. I'll be there. Get a picture with me, get a T-shirt, get something of Brian. I'm sure Brian will have figures.
Of course.
Yeah, so get something and take a picture with us.
Because you said, obviously, you're a nerd and you think that I'm a nerd as well.
We're all nerds. We're in the pro wrestling business.
See,
So
I
if
don't
you
think that's
wasn't
true.
one before, if you wasn't one before 6 years ago, you're one now. So
I got to get more into like the action figures and Comic-Con stuff because I don't follow any of that shit. I don't follow like Marvel. I'm not into like any of that kind of stuff. I don't know if you are, but
oh yeah, I love a good superhero movie.
who's your
That's like my
favorite?
favorite. I like them all.
You don't have a
I don't
favorite
really have a.
superhero?
No, I like them all.
That's bullshit.
I like them all equally.
Okay. That might be
Yeah.
the angriest thing you've said to make me angry. Is that?
I like them all equally. Like
So
I'm
you,
not
oh man.
I'm not superhero racist.
You like
I like them
Spider-Man
all.
just as much as you like the Hulk?
Yes.
Batman just as much as you like Captain America?
Yes.
Oh my God. That's absurd. Now, who else is
Yeah.
there even? I don't even know. Iron Man?
I like Shanghai. I think that's his name. I don't know that's his
even know
name,
who that
but
is.
I like him just as much as I like Thor. Like I like them all.
Do you like DC or Marvel better? I don't know the difference. So
I like them equally the same. I love comic book. I love superhero stuff. So
man,
I even love Blank Man. I love Blank
I don't
Man
know what
just
that
as much.
is. What is that?
Oh my God!
What is Blank
You're
Man?
32. You're 32 years old. Stop acting like you're 20. Like you're the same age as Bill Belichick's girlfriend. Like you're 32 years old. Like,
She definitely doesn't know who Blank Man is. I don't know who Blank
yeah.
Man is.
Well, when we get off this podcast,
Oh God.
Google Blank Man.
Do you like the?
In fact, buy whatever streaming services you have,
Hmm.
rent blank man the
Who
movie, and
plays
you'll laugh
him?
your ass off.
What actor plays him?
Damon Wayans.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he plays blank man, and you would love it. I think Damon Wayans
It
played him.
does.
Yeah,
I'm looking it up now.
Yeah.
Okay. It has a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes, this movie.
It's a don't go by the percentages. Watch it yourself. It's a classic.
It's from what
Blank
year?
Man is a
1994 it
classic.
came out. I was 3 years old. That's why I've never
Yes,
seen it.
it's a classic. You have to
Damon
watch
Wayans
it.
just makes me think of White Chicks because it's one of the greatest movies of all time.
I'm telling you, tell me about it. It's a classic.
You're like Terry Crews
Blank
from
Man.
White Chicks.
Yeah.
See? That was funny.
I've heard. No, it's not funny because I've heard that before. Nobody's gonna laugh.
I also love Terry
Okay.
Crews, so I think that's a compliment, to be quite honest with you.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, he's 15 years old, and I just looked up. He's 55 years old, and he still looks like he's
Yeah.
30 years old.
And I'm a big fan of Terry Crews.
Also a football player, by the way. He would be a good professional wrestler if he wanted to, but
I've actually met him a couple of times. Terry
was he
Crews.
nice to you?
He's real nice guy. I mean, I met him during my playing days.
Oh, man.
Because he would come to a lot of the training camps, the Atlanta Falcons training camp, which is weird because he didn't play for the Falcons. I think he played for the Packers. But
That's my team, by the way.
The Packers.
I'm a Packers fan.
That's why.
What's wrong with that? You don't even watch football to have a fucking opinion.
You're right. I'll take that back. I'm sorry. I just know they're green and yellow and they have the ugliest fucking uniforms in football history.
No shot.
Yeah,
is that the ugliest colors?
That is what I mean. What else?
I think
maybe purple.
The Browns
maybe the
are
Vikings.
pretty ugly.
Oh yeah, the Browns are bad. Well, the Green Bay is top. Green Bay is top 4.
I think that the Bengals is pretty ugly colors.
No, Bengals is cool.
I think the Saints have the best colors because I love I like
Saints is my.
Saints is
See, we have one thing in common. That's my favorite colors: black and gold.
Black and gold are the best colors ever.
Yeah,
but it's like that's what I would wear if I was a wrestler. I just wear black and gold every day. I basically wear black every day and gold jewelry, so I basically do that already.
Right, and similar to me, a lot of my gear, unless it's a special occasion, is black and gold. And sometimes I sprinkle red in there.
Is that color of your gear at Slammiversary that you're sprinkling?
No.
If you're dressing up as blank man at Slammiversary, I'm going to laugh my fucking ass off now. I just hope you know.
Maybe I will. I want to give you I can't tell you. I will say this is it's something similar, but not to Cody. That's the only thing I'll give you.
Ooh, like American Nightmare.
Maybe that's not
Captain America.
That's all I'll say.
Man, if you don't come out in like a whole American flag now, I'm gonna be super upset about it.
Has he ever done that?
No, but he's the American Nightmare. He comes out, his gear is like those colors.
But how do you know I'm talking about that Cody? I could be talking about Stardust Cody.
Well, I don't know. Or the suit Cody, you could come out in like some kind of suit gear and try to be like corporate.
You have to watch it. It's gonna be amazing.
I'm very excited for it. Slammiversary will be July 20th. Make sure you watch TNA this weekend while they're in Philly. And if you haven't gotten tickets and you are close by at the ECW Arena, just go because tickets are still on sale. So go to TNA.com. Obviously, to see the greatest of all time, that is Moose. Imagine people called you Mr. Moose. I almost said it just to be funny, but it kind of sounds hilarious. Mr. Moose. Mr. Moose.
At one point, I was thinking about changing my name to The Moose.
The Moose?
But
like The Rock?
Yeah.
I don't know. The Moose is a little odd.
Yeah, because, I mean, I'm a huge fan of The Rock also, so, yeah. There's another guy that I forgot to mention. I just keep... It's so hard to ask me who did I like
growing up.
I was...
Yeah,
because it's so many guys, and when you don't say a guy, it's almost like you're disrespecting them. But I'm not, because there's so many guys. I could sit here for hours naming all my favorite wrestlers. You know,
the better question was, who did you not like? That would have been funnier. I don't know if you're going to say anybody, but
I am.
Oh, okay.
So so it's so weird, and you're probably gonna look at me like you're an idiot. But my favorite wrestler of all time is is Razor Ramon.
Yes.
And the guy I liked the least was Scott Hall. Doesn't make sense, right?
Wow. That's like a mind fuck, honestly.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense at all. Yeah, and I had to explain it to people. Razor Ramon to me was like the coolest wrestler he had. He like dressed cool and he walked
Yeah.
cool and he talked cool. And then Scott Hall was just like his regular self, and I just hated it. And I hated that it was like, yeah, it's almost like Scott Hall didn't care, and Razor Ramon was larger than life. Yeah, so
That's fair.
even yeah, so that's.
I think that's fair. Actually, when you explain it, it makes more sense than when you say it as like a statement.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, you know, that's interesting. We learned so much about you today, I feel like.
Well, hopefully this becomes your most watched episode.
I hope so.
And I want my 10%.
Well,
helping
you begged
get
to
there.
come on, so you know, I don't.
Yeah,
you should have.
Because I wanted the rub. I wanted the Joe Henry rub.
Well,
which shouts out to Joe Henry. Hopefully, he's one of the 5 people that makes the match at Slammiversary, so I could kick the shit out of him.
Oh man, that song is catchy though. I'm sorry, it's so good.
I mean, it's a nice song.
You got to come up with.
It's not better than mine. It's not better than mine, but
I could not sing yours right now. I could sing his song, so maybe work on it.
Oh, okay.
You know? I don't know. He's doing it. He's doing it right. It's over 1 million views. He's trending everywhere.
No, he's definitely a star. I can't.
Just going to beat the shit out of him at Slammiversary if he qualifies.
Yeah, but I'm still going to whoop his ass if he qualifies.
Well, and if you're wearing an American flag, he's not from America, so.
I'm not. Who said I was wearing an American flag?
Well, I was teasing the Cody here.
That's actually a great idea. But first of all, I'm not American. I'm Nigerian.
Right,
so
that's true too. So
that defeats the purpose.
You were born in Nigeria?
No, I was born in America, but my family members are Nigerian.
Well, but you're born in America. You're American.
So
you're
I'm
first,
from
your first generation.
I'm
Nigerian, right?
I'm of Nigerian heritage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like my father was born in Sicily. I'm first generation Italian, but I was born in America.
So
he wasn't born in America, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's different. Like him coming out the American flag wouldn't make sense. Everyone has heritage, but you're not born. If you're born in the country, it's different. You don't think?
No, I mean I agree with you.
You fold very quickly in arguments. Is that your non-patience thing? I feel like every time I challenge you, you're like, yeah, whatever.
I'm just you probably don't, I mean, maybe you know this, but a lot of people know this about me. I'm very laid back. So
I know. I can tell that.
I just go,
I just find it funny because we argue all the time, but after 5 minutes, you just kind of give up arguing with me. I could argue for hours. I don't care.
I know that. I feel like that's every girl though.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's an art, what I do. It's the Jersey and the Italian, and I'm a different breed. You might not believe it.
Yo, you are crazy.
I'm not crazy though. You're not crazy if you're just good at talking and you can stand up for yourself. How's that crazy?
Well, we'll agree to disagree.
All right. Well, we'll leave it on that. What a good note to leave it off of. I appreciate the time today, Shrek. It was great for me.
Thanks for having me, Lord Farquaad.
Everyone, go watch TNA. Go to the show in Philly. Go to Comic-Con with him and Brian Myers at White Plains. And make sure to stay tuned to see who he's going to be facing off in that 6-way at Slammiversary because I'm excited to watch it. And we got to see what kind of gear he wears. So stay tuned to it. Thank you so much again for the time. This has been definitely an interesting interview. One of the most interesting I've sat through for sure. I hope everyone listening has enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed talking to Moose today. 1 out of 10 Moose experience today.
Definitely 2.
A 2, great.
I'm joking, as a 10, but I'm looking forward to what the media is gonna make up from this interview, like they do every time I do one.
I'm excited for it, honestly.
Yeah, I'm very excited. But thanks for having me. I'm starving. I need to go get some food.
Oh, man, all right.
I actually have another podcast I have to do in like an hour or so.
Wow.
So yeah,
Listen, at least you did me first. They get the sloppy seconds. I got first dibs, I guess,
yeah, yeah, and you got it for free, so that's good.
Well, you begged, so I'll get my payment later
Yeah,
from you.
yeah. All right.
Thank you so much. Go enjoy your food. As to everyone listening, we will be back with the new Gabby AF next week. Until then, LYMNB. Love you most. No backs.